Good afternoon. So this will be a little bit unusual video because I'll hold this video in Hebrew. Mostly everything that I record starting this January, I mean, almost from the initiation of this channel is in English. Unlike the past, when I recorded in Twitter and Evernote, Facebook, it was in Hebrew. But for no really, I mean, particular reason, I just feel like it, like speaking, like record a video in Hebrew. I would say that, I mean, if someone potentially from my audience will miss this video because presumably they have access to this channel but they don't have translation, it's not the end of the world. It's because it's not the most critical subject. It's a topic that is, it's one of the three topics that I mentioned a couple of days ago under the category of XXX files. Like, I mean, not with regards to sex, but I mean, there are more X than X files. Like, I mean, that they are deep in the territory of X files. Like, I mean, very speculative and should be taken like, you know, like you know, things from the Science Channel or the History Channel. You know what I mean, the History Channel. So this will be the discussion of the starships, the nature of the starships, archaeology, like not from the physical perspective, but from the observational perspective. I will discuss the physical perspective in the two next videos of this kind of like speculative series in which I will discuss cosmology and solid state physics. But this will be here we will focus on archaeology. I'll do it in Hebrew. I mean, not for it's not. It doesn't mean. Don't search for kind of like meaning or something. Just because, I mean, I feel like it. I would say that, I mean, an hour ago I started to replay two videos. I mean, in total, I mean, that there are in total like more than 2 hours of that I call the Horary Cube, of which I recorded 5 months ago. In which I discuss a very special container that was stolen for me and was actually the pretext for the second arrest and for me being here and not in my mother's apartment. I will continue to replay it just later, maybe probably after this video. Just, I mean, I felt that, I mean, I wanted to kind of like, you know, get things off my table, and I promised to speak about these 3 issues like a couple of days ago, and I want to kind of like, you know, to fulfill the promise. So let's start, you know, again, cleaning the table. I should just say with regards to the Horary Cube that during the time when I was arrested in my mother's apartment, my research was, I mean, very kind of like, I mean, diverse. Like, I mean, I pursued all sorts of, I did many things in parallel, and I pursued directions that are, I mean, that I completely abandoned them in this, I mean, in the second phase of the arrest since April, like here in this hostel for homeless people. Like here, I mostly always, I mean, my focus was always, almost entirely on the issues of getting the Neros, I mean, to multiply and to grow out in containers. This was started in my mother's apartment, but it got much more emphasis here, and it was much more success. And the creation of new life forms that also started in my mother's apartment, but now, again, more emphasis and more success. But at the first stage, I mean, since, I mean, from January to April, it was much more, I mean, yes, we've done many things in parallel, including things that are kind of like, I mean, that I do not speak at all about, because certainly not in the last couple of months, because it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, I temporarily lost interest in that because I understand that it only serve, like, you know, this will serve my prosecutors to torture me even more. But actually, many of the things that were done are quite interesting, even though they were all very, very preliminary. Like, I mean, very speculative and very preliminary. But I mean, actually, and I mean, if you have the effort to watch these old videos, there are some things are actually very interesting. Among others, I mean, yes, there was the issue of, like, I mean, of the creation of gems. That's why I called it the Horadri cube. Like even though it's not a cube, the container is based on it's a metal container of Danish cookies that is wrapped in clay. It's not a cube at all, but I mean, just it's a reference to the Diablo 2 computer game where you have like a magical cube that is used to create gems. But I also did all sorts of like other stuff, and I've even started to deal with, believe it or not, pharmaceuticals, and I've even, believe it or not, received FDA approval for starting human trials, and I've actually conducted several human trials. I mean, only on me, but yes, believe it or not, I created pills, by the Neros, and I've actually eaten it. Yes, it's also something. One of the things that were done during the first stage of the house arrest. Although with even more success, we actually started cosmetics. Believe it or not, or more so, I mean, I would say therapeutic balms based on all sorts of creams. Believe it or not, I mean, I'm like totally serious about it. Like skincare. No, it's not a joke or a metaphor. Like, I mean, it's not like really. I thought about it. Just to understand, I like to walk a lot. That's why the rest is so crucial. I mean, so cool. Walking is my main. Besides reading, walking is my main hobby and favorite sport. So, like many walkers, I sometimes have, like my problem with the feet, skin of the feet. Just, I mean, that it's cracked or, or dry or I mean, wet if it's the winter. I mean, things that are associated with rigorous walking. So that was the incentive for the skincare science. I mean, I'm totally serious about it. It's not like a joke or a metaphor. And this was, I mean, the incentive was just, I mean, that I sometimes have problems with because I sometimes I walk. I mean, now I'm under arrest, but I used to walk like for many hours, like almost without stop. Like, I mean, I do not walk very quickly, but I'm like a slugger tank. Like, I mean, I'm not that quick, but I mean, I can walk like sometimes many hours. Like, and like the main limitation is actually not like me being exhausted or not even like muscle pain or like bone fatigue, but actually the main problem that I found, like, I mean, is like the main limitation that is actually the feet, like the skin of the feet. Although it should be said that Israel, most of the year it's very hot country, and so maybe if it wasn't that hot, I mean, it was not that much of a problem. Anyway, just to say, it's serious. Like, I mean, I know it sounds like a little bit like I mean, out of context, but this is the context. This was the context. And as I said, I also started. I've done all sorts of like, I mean, failed experiments with DC using apparatuses that are not based on the electrolysis, because electrolysis is very cumbersome and it's very limiting. But I mean, they failed. I mean, and electrolysis worked, so that's why, I mean, electrolysis is so prominent in everything you see in his channel. I mean, you can ask, I mean, why electrolysis? I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's a valid, procedure, but it's kind of like, I mean, I would say it's not that, I mean, of all, like, it's not like, I mean, the obvious engineering solution, I mean, to energizing, I mean, the robots. Like, I mean, it's not a trivial solution, and it's not, probably most people will not think about it like at least, I mean, the first, like, as a first, certainly not as a first option. But I mean, I did not have success with other, I mean, passes, and I have tremendous success with this, like, I mean, pass. So that's why it's so prominent in this channel. I am 100% certain that there are much better ways to actually energize the neurons with electrical energy than electrolysis. I am certain about it, but I mean, not everything. I cannot do not everything. I mean, even when I was in my mother's apartment, I was penniless. I had no money at all, and I mean, I only had like I could only use like the things that I found, like I mean, my own stuff that I mean that was not in storage, but I mean was placed in the apartment, and some of the stuff that I mean belonged to my mother's and their husband that allowed me to use. And even that is like much more than I actually have now, which is basically almost like things that I take from the trash, like I mean, of his hostel, which is basically almost nothing. So not everything is a kind of like, I cannot, not everything is available to me. So from the available option, electrolysis actually, Israelis like to make noise. That's the way they are. It's a noisy breed. These are the people. Noise. So electrolysis, I mean, something that I mean I can do relatively easy, even though this got a lot of like limitation, and I need transformers, and I mean, so I mean, hopefully, I mean, luckily I managed to disassemble like a relatively strong transformer from the from the garbage, like I mean there was kind of like from an old like I mean appliance, like so luckily I can use it, but I mean, without that I mean everything, I mean this was like really at the hand of God that I mean someone threw away. I don't even know what it was because it was already partially disassembled. My guess maybe a refrigerator or something like that, or maybe like no electrical appliance of home, but it was already disassembled. But of the scraps of it, I found like actually I managed to disassemble relatively strong DC transformer, and I use it quite a bit, this one. Maybe you can actually tell me what it is, because I'm not even sure what it is. And I admit I'm not even sure like what's the specs. I just know that it's much stronger than the other DC transformers that I had, that are much weaker. Like, do you know what it is? I mean, it's a DC transformer, but what is it? So, but I've had other experiments, like I mean, in this like the first stage, like in my mother's apartment, like I've done all sort of like I mean, although AC, I've started to experimentation with AC, something that I haven't done in this apartment, in this stage. Maybe I'll get to it back to it, but it's, as I said, it's dangerous. Working with AC is dangerous. I mean, not the AC itself, but the fact that I mean you use 220 volts. And what's even more dangerous is the generation of AC, which is something that I started to think about. But I know that you are very interested in it. But I mean, it was proven to be very dangerous. Like I mean, I mean, it was. I thought like I'm constructing something that was like from disassembled fanless, bladeless fan, but it's very heavy, like and spins very quickly, which is actually good, because I mean it's like a huge metal that spins quickly. It's actually can be used it's actually very nice, like from the AC perspective. But it was too dangerous. Like I mean, working both from electrical perspective and also just I mean mechanical perspective, because it's a huge thing that spins. There are several videos of it, like in this channel, so you can watch it. And there were actually other things that I mean I studied, like started to study in this apartment, like in the previous like the stage of the arrest. Like I mean, since regarding material, gold, diamonds, gems, this is the context for the water cube. And things that are, I mean, all sorts of experiments that were actually very interesting with oil paints and painting. I mean, materials in it. It's one of the things that I do. That I already did. Like I mean, even before this research and doing the research as painting. So I mean, I have like it's just things that I have, like you know, that I had like is all sort of painting equipment. So things with that sort, it was actually very interesting, and sculptures, of course. So this is kind of like the context for the water cube video that was taken here during June, and it's kind of like a summary of like the things that of the episode with this container that is I don't have it anymore. It was most certainly stolen by my mother and or her husband. So actually I'll stop here because I need to להתפנות, as they say, but I'll start the next video very soon, and it will be done in Hebrew, as I say.